All right, you know what it's time for? It is time for an update when it comes to the new 2023 GMC Canyon and Chevrolet Colorado. And today I have just that for you. We're going to talk about all the pricing. I have the introductory pricing on all the trim levels, not to mention some really cool engine upgrade potentials when it comes to the Chevrolet Colorado. So with that, let's get going. All right, so as you heard off the top, I do want to talk about the pricing of these trim levels, both the Colorado and the Canyon, the new 2023 versions. But I also, again, want to talk about there's a little bit of an upgrade, a little bit of a news when it comes to the Chevrolet Colorado. But let's kick it off first with the GMC Canyon. The reason why is because there's a little less to talk about pricing because there's a little less options. And a lot of that has to do to the engines I'm going to talk about here in a moment. So first and foremost, if you haven't already seen my previous videos in regards to the Chevrolet Colorado and the GMC Canyon, definitely do yourself a favor. Go back and look. I've got lots there. I've got the introductory videos. I've got videos of walkarounds of some of them. And, you know, I can talk about, obviously, they're an all-new generation of this truck with a lot of exciting things, you know, bigger screens on the inside, so new interior, new exterior, new stances. I mean, the whole new looks, the whole thing is different, and as far as I'm concerned, better. I love the looks and the performance ability, performance aspects, pardon me, of the new trucks. Now, one of the things that some people had an issue with was the motors, was the engines, and that is because they are only coming with one engine choice this year. Well, one engine choice that we can base some certain things off of, and that is the 2.7 liter four-cylinder engine. Now, when it comes to Chevrolet, there's three different versions of that motor to choose from, which again, we'll talk about here in a second. But when it comes to GMC, there's only the top of those three that are available, which is what they call the turbo high output. Now that engine right now is going to be producing 310 horsepower and 390 foot-pound of torque. So that is what the only option is going to be. And so when we're talking about pricing today, keep in mind that the only engine offering is that highest trim level of engine when it comes to the GMC Canyon. And let's kick it off. I didn't actually think they were going to offer a two-wheel drive this year, but they are. They're going to have one two-wheel drive option. It's in the entry trim level, which never has the Elevation been an entry trim level, but it is in the case of the Canyon, pardon me. So the Canyon Elevation two-wheel drive is your entry trim level. That is going to start at $38,095 US dollars. By the way, I only have US dollar pricing. Don't have anything in Canadian right now. You can probably do some rough conversions to figure out where it's going to come out to. But $38,095 plus the destination fee. So keep that in mind. I don't know what that's going to be. It could be anywhere between $1,800 to $2,100. I'm not exactly sure. But $38,095. Now, next up from that, of course, is the Elevation four-wheel drive, of course. That's going to bump you up to $41,395. Next up from there is the AT4, great looking truck, obviously, $45,395. Again, all these are plus destination. After the AT4, you're going to have, of course, the Denali. Denali comes in at $52,495. And then the range topper now is going to be the AT4X, which is going to be coming in at $56,995. Now, a lot of the videos and the publicity you've seen on these Canyons is showing what they call the AT4X Edition 1. There is a price in that of $66,290, but keep in mind that was an early order truck only, and as far as I know, they were sold out within minutes probably. So I don't believe that that's something I would hold my breath for that's going to be available. So really, as far as what you may be able to actually go out and order at your local dealer, I believe the AT4X non-Edition 1 will be your choice. And again, that'll be at $56,995. But before we get to the Chevys, I have to quickly stop and thank my sponsor of this video, Rokform. It is a company that I've been dealing with for a couple of years using all their product. They make amazing phone cases. As you can see here, these are both for the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which is the phone I have, but they make multiple other ones. Their packaging is phenomenal. What I also love about this company is they have a 60-day money-back guarantee, pardon me, not to mention a 2-year limited warranty as well. They really stand behind their product. It is amazing stuff. I love how they even have a thank you letter inside here when you buy it. Now, here's one of the cases. This is the case I use primarily. This is the rugged case. Check this out. All this stuff, by the way, is magnetized dual magnets right back here. And the reason for this is because it'll mount on different mounts that they have available for your vehicle, or a motorcycle, or a snowmobile. And it's really easy to use. What I also love about this too is as rugged as this case is, it even has the ring around here so I can use this wireless charging. This can pop out. I can put a ring inside here. But let me just show you a couple of the mounts they have really quickly as well. First and foremost, one of my favorites right here. This one clips right into the vent of your vehicle. All magnets, and as I said, the phone will stick to it just like that. Check that out. How awesome is that? They also have a swivel mount, so you can mount this on the dash or wherever. 3M sticks on there. And one of my favorites right here is this mount. This is the suction cup mount. I like this because I can put it up on the window, slap my phone on there, and I can actually record as I'm driving as well. Again, the packaging for this stuff is awesome. They even have the film for the front of the phone. Tons of stuff. This is an amazing company. I recommend you check them out. Rokform, ROKFORM.com. So now when it comes to the Chevrolet Colorado, there is different two-wheel drive versions and four-wheel drive versions. I really am just going to talk about the only two-wheel drive I'm going to talk about is the entry two-wheel drive to show you the least expensive, Chevrolet Colorado that you can get into. Past that, all the other Colorados, I'm going to talk just about the four-wheel drive option. In fact, just as a quick heads up, the only two trucks that offer the two-wheel drive are going to be the WT and the LT, but there's different engine options and so on. I don't want to make this video go on forever. So the WT, that two-wheel drive is going to start off at $30,695. Now that is because it comes, well, first of all, it's a WT, so it's entry level, it's two-wheel drive, and it's going to come with the standard engine of the regular 2.7 liter turbo. So unlike the GMC Canyon, which has the high output version, this Chevrolet and this Colorado starts off at the base trim level. Now this 2.7 liter turbo is going to produce 237 horsepower and 260 foot-pound of torque versus, the 310 and 390 that's being seen in the high output. The other engine offering that is going to be available is what they call the Turbo Plus. Now, the Turbo Plus, I'm going to talk about which trucks it's available on and not, but the Turbo Plus is an option in certain models. It's standard engine in certain models as well. It's going to have 310 horsepower, again, very much like the high output will, but a little less torque at 390 foot-pound of torque, pound-feet of torque, pardon me. So it's going to have about 40 foot-pound of torque, or pound-foot of torque, pardon me, less than the high output. Now, this is kind of where things get a little bit interesting because when it comes to the WT, that is the only offering in the two-wheel drive. When you you have one other option in two-wheel drive. But let's talk about four-wheel drive. When we get to the four-wheel drive WT, the regular turbo version is $33,995. When you bump up to the WT Turbo Plus, it's $33,045. And if you've done that math, any kind of quickly, what happens is when you move up in any of these trim levels where the the Turbo is your standard engine, to bump up to the Turbo Plus, it's $1,050 US dollars, of course, again. So $1,050 to bump up to the Turbo Plus, get a little more torque, a little more horsepower. If you want in some of these offerings, because none of these trucks other than the ZR2 offer the high output, if you want to bump up to the high output, you first have to get the $1,050 Turbo Plus, then it's a $395 charge, which is an upfit at your dealer. This is kind of unusual, not something you normally see at a General Motors dealer, but it's more or less a program, to be honest with you, from what I can see with this. So you would have to bump up, get the Turbo Plus, and the only way you can get the high output version is if you get the Turbo Plus to begin with, which is $1,050, so $1,050 plus $395. Now, keeping in mind, as a heads up here as well, if you want the high output, again, you have to have the Turbo Plus as mentioned. But here's how it works out. The WT, as I just talked about here momentarily ago, the WT is only available in the normal turbo version or the Turbo Plus, as I talked about the pricing. The LT, you can get the Turbo Plus, but you have to pay for it, that $1,050. And then you do have the option in the LT to get the high output, again, another $395. The Trail Boss comes already standard with the Turbo Plus. Are you confused yet? But it comes standard with the Turbo Plus. So all you would have to do to get the high output is bump up that $395 to get into the high output. And likewise with the Z71. The Z71 comes standard with the Turbo Plus. So all you have to do is bump up $395 in order to get the high output. And then, of course, the only trim level above that is ZR2. As I mentioned, it already comes with the high output. Are you confused yet? I hope not. Let's keep going with the pricing, though. After we bump up from the WT Turbo Plus, which is $35,045, our next step up is the LT four-wheel drive with the regular turbo engine, by the way, again, $36,395. If you want the Turbo Plus, it's $37,445. And if you want the Turbo HO, it's $37,840, okay? Trail Boss is our next one up. It starts at $38,495. Again, it starts with the Turbo Plus, though, the Trail Boss does. If you want to get the HO, again, obviously that bump up is $38,890. So that's going to be your increase there. The Z71 is our next trim level. It comes automatically with the Turbo Plus, which is $41,395. If you want the Turbo HO, added to that is $41,790. Now the ZR2, the regular ZR2, of course, with the HO, it's the only way it comes, is coming in at $48,295. Again, all these, by the way, are plus destination fee, just like the Canyon was. And then the ZR2 Desert Boss is $57,590. Now, much like the AT4X Edition 1 in the Canyon, the Desert Boss, as far as I know, is probably pretty much sold out if it isn't already. So again, not one I would necessarily hold my breath for. Probably the ZR2 is the one you're going to get your hands on if you want something range topping. But again, that's the kind of way that all this shakes up in terms of the motors and the pricing of the Canyons and Colorados. And now I tried to make that as least confusing as possible, but I know there's it jumbles around. But the cool part is, again, that we didn't know initially when they first came out. You can get high output in more models than we initially thought, and really at not a huge over expense. If you're already getting into a Trail Boss or a Z71, it's only $400 to get up to that high output to get you some more torque. So again, just wanted to kind of mention that here today. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, take care.